This is Ding Shan, a lovely girl. On her first day of college, she went to the boys' dormitory to find a friend, but the manager didn't let her in because it was a boys' dormitory. So she shouted his name loudly, causing everyone to turn around and look. The boy was named Cua. He was the dream boyfriend of all the girls in the school. Finally, the two met. Ding Shan came here to find Cua, and also to express her feelings for him. The two had promised to take the entrance exam to Tsinghua University. Now Ding Shan had done it, and she wanted Cua to fulfill their promise. However, Cua coldly rejected that feeling. He only accepted the doll from Ding Shan. That night, Cua sat looking at the doll and discovered a piece of paper with a message attached. Before that, in August 2009, the summer was very hot. This was also the time when Ding Shan and her family had moved to Tamhai, starting a new life with many strange things for a girl from the countryside. Ding Shan's family had moved to a new house, but it had been quite cramped. The mother had forced Ding Xian and her younger brother to sleep in the same room, but of course, the two had refused. So a fight had broken out between Ding Xian and Din Tuan over the bedroom, causing her to have accidentally fallen and gotten a swollen forehead. She had chased after her brother to deal with him, but her parents had defended her younger brother. After that, the whole family had gone to a friend's house to eat. This had been someone who would help Din Tian's father's upcoming work go smoothly. So the mother had been quite close and had told her two children to be obedient. That day, the host had also had two more guests. It was their son's two friends who had come to study together, and this was also the first time Cua and Ding Shan met. During the meal, Ding Shan's mother kept asking about the young men's scores and took the opportunity to praise her daughter for studying hard. Cua had to speak up for his friend, saying that the scores did not fully reflect the abilities. However, Ding Shan's mother continued to express her wish that her daughter and Cua would talk to each other more often, because their marriage had been promised by their grandfather since they were young. Hearing this, Ding Shan and the other young men were all surprised. After that, the three young men got up and went back to their rooms, while Ding Shan took her younger brother to the restroom. By chance, she heard the other young men talking badly about her. They did not like Ding Shan's family and even called her a monster. Unable to bear it, Ding Shan knocked on the door and asked to talk. She borrowed toilet paper for her younger brother and told Cua directly that she would break off the engagement and would not let him get what he wanted. When she got home, Ding Shan's mother scolded her daughter repeatedly because she thought she did not know how to communicate to please Cua's parents. Ding Shan did not bother to say anything more, just made an excuse to buy medicine for the wound on her forehead and left. At the same time, because Ziqi injured his ankle, Cua took his friend to the pharmacy to have the doctor fix it. Coincidentally, Ding Shan also went to the same pharmacy to buy medicine. She was introduced to all kinds of medicine by a very enthusiastic doctor, and when she was about to pay, she unexpectedly ran into Siu. The doctor then asked Ding Shan for money because the medicine bottle had been opened and could not be sold to anyone else, but he sold it to her at an extremely expensive price, and Ding Shan did not have enough money to pay immediately. Seeing this, Shiyu immediately paid for the medicine bottle to the beauty. Ding Shan promised to pay him back, but he only asked her to respond with a delicious meal. So the two of them went to a restaurant, although small, but the food was quite delicious. Yue also teased Ding Shan about the swelling on her forehead, making her feel embarrassed and go home. The scene changed to the next day. The new school year had already begun, but Ding Shan could not find her name tag, even though it was almost time to go to class. She hurriedly ran to school and accidentally met Siyu on the way, so she turned her face away and took another route. As a result, she was late. She sneaked into the hall to attend the opening ceremony, thinking that no one would notice, but in the end, she was caught by the supervisor and punished to stand at the end of the line. There, fate brought her to meet Cua, but the two did not say a word to each other. Then Ding Shan entered the classroom, feeling quite shy in the new environment. Siu also went to sit at the same table because the class was full. Right on the first day of class, Ding Shan forgot to bring her name tag, so Ziqi threatened that the teacher would take special action. Sure enough, when the teacher entered the classroom, he started with warnings that the students had to be obedient or they would be severely punished, and emphasized the importance of wearing their full name tags. Immediately, all eyes in the class turned to Ding Shan because she did not bring her name tag today. On this side, Ding Shan's father is also a teacher of grade 12. Today he met his nephew named Bai Kong, who also studies here, and the two of them had a few greetings before. Mr. Din had to leave to catch up with the council meeting. At the school cafeteria, Ding Shan met his senior Bai Kong again. The two of them ate and talked, which attracted the attention of Cua and his friends because Bai Kong was a person with a very special status in the school. In class, the class class president came over to mock Ding Shan a few times, saying that everyone here had already studied the first semester program of grade 10, so she would be slower than her friends. During math class, Ding Shan was called to the board by the teacher to solve a function problem, but she didn't know how to do it, while CEO easily answered it, even though he didn't pay attention to studying. During recess, Ding Shan and CEO had another argument when he wanted to show her the formula for solving a function, but she criticized him for only getting enough points. What qualifications did he have to teach others? Hearing Ding Shan's criticism, the whole class was surprised because CEO was famous for being an excellent student. The class president came over and directly mocked Ding Shan, making her so embarrassed that she had to step outside. While she was sitting alone, she met Bai Kong. He knew she was having trouble, so he invited her to a secret place. Bai Kong took Ding Shan to his base on the rooftop, where he often went to see the scenery when he was sad. He knew that Ding Shan had just arrived in this city, so she would have a hard time adapting. 2 years ago, Bai Kong had also experienced the same thing. He had no choice but to try every day to adapt to life. After that, Ding Shan returned to class and was taken away by the class president. She didn't like Cui either, so she suggested switching seats with the class president. The class president was happy to be sitting next to the boy she secretly liked, while Cui showed his displeasure. After school, Ding Shan returned home tiredly. When she entered her room, she saw her younger brother secretly reading her diary, which made her extremely angry. She intended to beat him up, but her mother continued to defend him, even blaming Ding Shan for not studying and writing random diaries. Seeing her mother treating her so unfairly, Ding Shan couldn't bear it and argued back, so a conflict broke out between mother and daughter. Fortunately, her father stepped in to stop her. Ding Shan took back his name tag and angrily returned to his room. However, the next morning, Ding Thong took the initiative to apologize to his sister. He even begged her for forgiveness, which surprised Ding Shan. Later, Ding Shan went to class. Her deskmate said that Cui had left something in Ding Shan's desk drawer. It turned out to be a box of rice cakes that Cui's mother wanted to give her as a gift, but because she hated Cui, she returned the box to him. Ding Shan was not happy sitting at the same desk as this person either, because he was quite difficult and quiet. He didn't even bother to keep a single sheet for her when they were handed out math worksheets. She had to go ask the subject officer, but unfortunately, he had just returned the teacher. Ding Shan went to see the teacher to ask for it, but ironically, the teacher had just given it all to other classes, so she had to go print out a separate worksheet in the teacher's room. Here, she saw that every teacher's desk was full of gifts for Teacher's Day, but her father's desk was empty. That afternoon, after school, Ding Shan waited for her father to go home together. She remembered the gift her father had given her, which was a diary. It seemed that her father loved her very much, but he just didn't say it. In turn, Ding Shan gave her father a thermos cup for Teacher's Day, which made him very happy. Although it was only a small gift, it was full of meaning. On the way home, the father and son met Cui and his mother. Both parents stopped to chat. Then Ding Shan's father suggested that they arrange for their children to go to school together since they were going the same way. Anyway, Cui's mother quite agreed with this idea. Seeing that their parents were so determined, Ding Shan and Cui had no choice but to accept. That night in the room, Ding Shan was very excited about the diary her father gave her and decided to write down her new thoughts about her life. The next morning, Cui was waiting to go to school with her. He even carefully prepared breakfast for her. However, Ding Shan did not eat it, but gave it to the boy at the next table, causing Cui see and show his displeasure. Next, during math class, the teacher was busy, so he gave the homework to the whole class and told them to keep order while doing the homework. Whoever was out of order would have their name written down by the class president so that he would deal with them severely when the teacher returned. During that class, Ding Shan and Hio Feng's names were written on the board by the class president. As a result, both of them were forced to go to the podium to be taught by the math teacher. At the same time, Ziqi, because of talking privately during class, caused several friends to be punished by staying behind to clean the classroom. Everyone was annoyed with Ziqi, but Cui was quite happy. At the end of class, everyone had to stay behind to clean the classroom. That night, because he was worried that his daughter had not yet adapted to the class and could not maintain a good relationship with her friends, Ding Shan's father bought a lot of snacks for her. He also talked to her about life philosophy as well as how to behave to get along with friends and develop herself in a new environment. The next morning, before going to work, he carefully asked Cui to pay attention to help his daughter because she refused to share with him. On the way to school, Cui paid attention to Ding Shan. During gym class, he even managed to catch a basketball that was flying towards her, so the two had the opportunity to get close. Ding Shan looked at Cui from a close distance and felt embarrassed. She blushed and ran out. During the next break, Shan brought a box of chocolate to give to her friends to make friends. She followed the advice of her father and senior Bai Kong, and also gave Siyu a chocolate, which made the class monitor sitting next to Siyu uncomfortable. The class monitor immediately used the rule of not eating snacks in class to threaten her. She also criticized Shan's chocolate as cheap and boasted that the type she usually ate was the best, but Siyu didn't care and ate the chocolate, making the class monitor embarrassed. That day, Shan went to look for her younger brother on behalf of her mother. She saw him playing games at the mall and was about to pull him back when she coincidentally met Siyu and 3 friends who were also hanging out there. The class monitor, due to Siyu's influence, took the initiative to make peace with Shan. She even wanted to change their seats back to the old ones, which surprised Shan. After that, the group had a very fun outing with many exciting prize-winning games. After playing hard, Shan and her younger brother returned home in time for dinner. Shan asked her mother to buy her a phone, but she refused because she wanted her to focus on studying. The next morning when Shan came to class, Siyu asked her to change her seat to sit at the same table as him. It turned out that he had asked the homeroom teacher to let Shan sit next to him. The reason was that he wanted to help his classmates study better and also to repay Mr. Din, Shan's father. Because Miss Din was there, the homeroom teacher could not refuse. Shan returned to her old seat and received the stuffed animal that Siyu had won in the claw machine yesterday. She was very happy with this gift. Then he snatched the stuffed animal back to tease Shan, and so the two of them once again had close contact. They looked at each other for a while, making both of them embarrassed, their hearts beating faster. Shan suddenly felt extremely happy, and these 3 years of high school became even more meaningful to her. During the break time after that, Shan received the test results and was quite disappointed. She looked at Siyu's score and admired him greatly, wondering why he was so good at studying as a human being. Siyu walked in and saw Shan's expression and test paper and immediately understood that she was sad about the results. Without hesitation, he offered to show Shan how to solve the questions. Shan was extremely excited and agreed immediately, so Siyu began to teach her new knowledge. He also showed Shan how to take notes in the most reasonable way, so she could memorize easily instead of writing everything down in her notebook. The next morning, Shan was still used to stuffing all the books and notebooks for that day into her backpack, so it was quite heavy. Siyu had to help carry it, making the image of both of them look very cute. At the school gate, Siyu met KK again. This friend had asked for a long leave of absence to treat illness, and now returned to continue studying. She immediately became the center of attention, attracting the attention of many people in the school. During class that day, the homeroom teacher assigned class officers to serve the upcoming work of the group. Wan continued to hold the position of class monitor. Siyu was nominated to be the deputy class monitor, but he refused, so this position was given to He Jingwen. Ziqi held the position of deputy class monitor for physical education, and Shan wanted to register for the deputy class monitor for the art class. But Zhang Chen took the initiative to stand up and received enthusiastic support from the whole class. KK invited Shan to do the drawing with her because she knew Shan was quite skillful and enthusiastic. So that day during physical education, the two stayed in class to complete the form to celebrate Teacher's Day. After class, Siyu returned to class and was impressed with Shan's drawing on the board. When it was time for the English test, the first person to go to the board was Shan. She read quite stiffly, so the teacher reminded her, while KK's performance was fluent, making Shan a bit sad. Wanting to improve her English, she asked Bai Kong to help her find speaking practice materials. So the next day she was late for class, and Siyu had to lie to the teacher that she was going to the bathroom. A while later, Shan sneaked into class. Siyu gave her a notebook of his English learning methods, which made her very happy. When Shan was studying English at home, her father came in and asked her if she wanted to buy a cell phone. If so, she could use his phone, and he would use a pager. Hearing her father say that, she felt that she didn't need to buy a cell phone right away. She could just use the landline to contact her friends. Seeing that her daughter was well behaved, her father told her to invite her friends over to play for fun one day. During the conversation, he accidentally revealed that he was the one who told Siyu to suggest changing seats with her. Shan was not pleased. She wanted to solve her own problems because she was an adult anyway. The next morning, Shan went to school and sat in her seat. Not long after Siyu also arrived, she stood up and made an excuse to leave and didn't return to class until it was almost time for class. While her friends were playing, someone accidentally spilled Coke on her, making her embarrassed and not knowing what to do. At that moment, Siyu Siyue came and covered her with his coat, making her shyly thank him. The next day, Siyue went to Shan's house and waited downstairs while she struggled to find something to wear. When she came down, Siyue had already played a few games of chess. After that, he invited Shan to eat and asked her to go to some places in Shanghai later. He said that in recent years, the economy had developed, so there were many places to have fun and visit in Shanghai. Siyue also said that if he had free time, he would take her out, and Shan nodded in agreement. At that moment, Bai Kong passed by. He greeted Shan a few sentences and then left. When she turned back, she saw Siyue angrily eating all her fried fish balls. She laughed and called him a glutton. After that, the two of them went to the cinema together. While watching, KK walked in and greeted Siyue. Seeing KK with her boyfriend, Shan asked Siyue if he was sad, but Siyue had no reason to be sad. The two finished watching the movie and went home. On the way, they met a teacher wearing glasses. Seeing that, Siyue quickly pulled Ding Shan away and hid in the stairs. Suddenly, the sky started to rain. He used his shirt to protect Shan. At that moment, Siyue just wished time would stop so he could be with her longer. When the rain stopped, the two stood waiting for the bus. Ding Shan said, if Siyue took the Tsinghua exam, he would definitely pass because he was such a good student. Siyue also wanted Shan to take the exam with him. He gave her a sentence: glory is still ahead, and believed that as long as she worked harder, she would definitely achieve her dream. The next morning, Siyue went to school and saw Shan frowning, trying to drink all the medicine her mother gave her. He immediately gave her a candy to make the medicine less bitter. When the class started, Shan and Siyue were busy talking to each other, so the teacher punished them to stand in the hallway. Taking the opportunity, Yan Sheng reassures her that his grandmother is not in life. He praised it as okay, but said that if she had time, she should study math instead of making cards, which made her angry and asked for the card back. At that moment, the teacher came and called the two of them into the classroom. When it was time for the teacher's class, he continued to lecture the whole class that students did not study but only hung out together. If they did not study hard, they would change seats. Shan was sad because no matter how hard she tried, she could only improve by 2 levels, and there was not much time left until grade 12. Siyue encouraged her that if she wanted to get results, she had to be patient and continue studying. When she got home in the evening, Shan sat down at her desk, but before she could write a word, her mind was already busy thinking about the future. After that, Shan fell asleep on the desk without realizing it. When she opened her eyes, she received a note from her father saying that the whole family had gone to see the fireworks and she was the only one at home. At that moment, her classmates came to call her to go out. The streets were very crowded. Siyue held Shan's hand and pulled her to the lake, but when they arrived, the fireworks had already gone out. While the group was still disappointed, another round of fireworks suddenly shot up in the sky, so the 4 of them happily raised their hands to celebrate the new year. When she returned home, Shan recalled the moment she held Siyue's hand. She smiled and wrote in her diary that someone once said, if a person is with you on New Year's Eve, then that person will surely stay with you for a lifetime, and she hoped that saying was true. The next morning, the 4 friends made an appointment to go to the lake to release sky lanterns. Seeing the lanterns fly away, each of them had their own wish, and that lantern would carry the dreams of the 4 students far away. The New Year holiday finally ended. Shan returned to school, but before she could learn a word, she fell ill. There was a test that day, so even though she was tired, she still had to take the test. After finishing, the whole group complained that the test was too difficult. Shan didn't even dare to check the answers. Siyue comforted her not to worry anymore. If she was sick, she should go home and rest, otherwise she would have a fever that would damage her brain. When she got home, Shan sneezed continuously. Her mother said that Siyue would bring her homework. Hearing that, she immediately got up, cleaned up the mess, and sat up straight, waiting for him to come in. Ding Shan pretended to ask why Siyue didn't give her homework to her mother, but had to go all the way to her room. Siyue then suggested, in a questioning tone, whether he should bring her report card to show her mother. Hearing this, Shan was startled and said it wasn't necessary. She could check it first, because if her mother saw her name at the bottom of the ranking list, she would definitely scold Shan. After that, Siyue went home. His mother said that this year, only she and her son would celebrate the new year together, so she felt very empty. Siyue comforted his mother with a few sentences to ease her sadness. Then when his his mother asked him where he had been late and if he liked Shan, he avoided the question and went back to his room. Meanwhile, Shan went to the senior's house. She shared with her senior about the test because she could not keep up with the curriculum. The deskmate, relying on experience, said that studying requires not only diligence but also intelligence. He advised Shan not to try too hard and harm her health. After that, Shan went home, saw the landline and was about to pick up the phone to call Siyu. But before she could dial the number, he called her first. The two of them chatted affectionately. Although they only said a few sentences, it was enough to make both of them happy all night. The next day in class, Shan looked at the seating chart and saw that it had not changed. When she returned to her seat, she found out that Siyu had intentionally done poorly on the test to sit next to her, which made her secretly happy. At noon, the two of them went out to eat together. Shan said that today was her birthday, which surprised Siyu a bit, but he wished her a happy birthday and took her to a special place. Shan stepped onto a platform. Siyu pressed a button and her star map appeared on the ceiling, a miniature sparkling universe that seemed to be just for her. The next morning, Siyu had a basketball match with the other class's team, but he also had a cleaning schedule that day. Shan was on duty instead of Siyu so that he could go to the competition. She and her best friend were almost done when a girl from the next class named KK walked in and gave her a letter to send to Siyu. Shadi saw it and tore the letter right in front of her, causing Shan to disagree because after all, it was someone else's letter and tearing up a letter was immoral. Shadi got angry and left first. On the way home, Shan didn't know what to say to Siyu, so she ended up not saying what needed to be said and saying what didn't need to be said. When she got home that night, she saw that everyone around Siyu was more outstanding than her, which made her even more self-conscious. Shan took out KK's letter and copied it to give to Siyu. At school, her best friend was still angry with Shan. Meanwhile, Siyu accidentally saw a letter under the table with the same handwriting as Shan's, so he felt confused. Shadi was still angry. He didn't even eat with her at mealtime, and he didn't practice with her during gym time. Girls really do take a long time when they're angry. After that, the whole class went in for the teacher's lesson. Teacher Lu reminded the physical education class deputy Ziqi to make a list of people participating in the physical education competition and submit it to him. Ziqi asked Shadi if she wanted to participate, but because she was upset, she conveniently scolded Ziqi. After school, Shan walked home alone. She looked at Siyu walking ahead and felt a little sad. KK ran over and gave Shan a box of stars and asked her to give it to Siyu. Shan couldn't refuse, so she took it. At night, Siyu opened the letter that Shan had copied. After reading it, he couldn't help but laugh. The next morning, Siyu came to class and saw another box of stars in the desk drawer. He put a gift bag on Shan's desk because he thought that she liked him, so she had written that love letter. This was the gift Siyu wanted to give back to her feelings. However, when he heard Shadi say that the letter and the box of stars were originally KK's, Siyu pulled Shan up to the rooftop to talk. He blamed her for doing such things like a courier, and then returned the stars box to Shan. Receiving the stars box and the scolding, Shan felt so wronged that she cried. The day of the competition arrived. KK sat down with Shan. She apologized for tearing KK's letter and said that she had written another one. The friend did not blame her and even wanted to be friends with Shan. The next morning, Teacher Lu wished the students good luck on their final exams, so the school year ended. Shan and her friends began to enter the stressful exam period. Shan gradually separated herself from her friends. One day, she saw a group of children bullying her younger brother, so she went to rescue him and dragged him home. She rubbed oil on her younger brother and scolded him that he was hard to control at home, but let people bully him outside. Her younger brother also argued back that Shan was difficult at home, but she was gentle outside. After that, Shan went into the room, opened the gift box, and intended to give it to Siyu because today was his birthday. The beautiful painting of the Milky Way made her think and quickly ran to find him. On this side, Siyu was praying at the birthday party. When Shan arrived, everyone had already left. She thought she would never see him again, but suddenly Siyu walked in. It turned out that her friends had gone to sing. Shan apologized for being late, but Siyu said it was okay. He still saved a small piece of cake for her. The two of them blew out the candles to celebrate their birthday. Shan gave her gift to Siyu, and he gave her a cell phone so that he could call her whenever he couldn't find her. Thanks to that birthday, the two of them made up and stopped being angry with each other. The next day, Teacher Lu continued to scold the students. During recess, Shan accidentally damaged Shadi's notebook. Shadi, who was already angry with her, became even angrier. When she walked in and saw the scene, she immediately ran to the bathroom and cried loudly. Shan followed her friend to apologize and explain explained that she didn't mean to tear the notebook. Shadi immediately asked Dingshan how she would compensate her. Buy a new notebook and copy it like KK's letter. After saying that, Shadi ran into the bathroom and cried alone. Dingshan begged her friend to come out and she sincerely apologized. Finally, the two friends made up and Dingshan's face became happy. At lunchtime, KK sat down to eat with 4 friends and admitted that she wrote the letter. However, she insisted that she wasn't the type of person who would cling to Siyue, and if Siyue didn't like her, she could just be friends. Siyue agreed, and Zichi pulled him to another place to eat. Shadi didn't like KK, so she left. Seeing this, Dingshan wanted to talk to KK privately. At the basketball court, KK was happy when she understood what Dingshan wanted to say. After eating with Siyu, she also realized that she didn't like cold people like him anymore, so Dingshan didn't need to feel guilty. After saying that, KK turned around and left. The scene changed to the classroom. Dingshan looked at the board and saw that her eyes were getting dimmer. When she got home, she wanted her mother to buy her a new pair of glasses. Dingshan's family wasn't rich, so her mother advised her to sit at the front desk so that it would be easier to see, and if she wore glasses less, her prescription wouldn't increase. Hearing that she might be changed seats, Dingshan quickly said that she would try to see and didn't want to change seats. Dingshan's mother not only wanted to change her daughter's seat but also her class, but Dingshan did not agree and said that it was her choice, hoping that her mother would let her decide for herself. She then stood up and went back to her room. Her father came in and brought her a new phone, and Dingshan also brought out the phone that Siyue had lent her. Seeing this, he told his daughter to return the phone to Siyue, and Dingshan could use the phone he bought. Then he advised her to listen to her mother and choose the right class and department to take the university entrance exam. Although her father spoiled her, he also wanted his daughter to make the best choice, because everything Dingshan's mother did was only for her future, and no parent would want to harm their child. Therefore, he hoped that Dingshan would think carefully so that she would not regret it later. Both the teacher and the teacher praised Dingshan for being very good at literature, and that if she chose the social science course, she would develop further, but Dingshan firmly refused, wanting to study science. Back in class, Dingshan asked Siwei for his opinion, and he only suggested that if she was good at and liked a subject, she should just try hard and she would achieve it. After hearing this, Dingshan became even more confused. During gym class, Dingshan was accidentally hit in the face by a shuttlecock, and Siwei immediately took her to the infirmary for a checkup. She put a hot compress on her face to relieve the pain, and then asked Siwei to help her copy the notes. Her nearsightedness had worsened, and now she was also suffering from pain in one eye, making her worried about how she would continue her studies. Dingshan thanked Siwei for helping her so much. The next morning, she decided to choose the science class and said that no matter what Siwei did, she would always support him. After school, Shadi went to Dingshan's house to help her choose clothes and volunteered to cut her hair. Dingshan randomly chose a hairstyle for Shadi to cut, but when she saw the new bangs, she screamed and even wanted to stop playing with her friend. Today, she had to hang out with Siyu, so Dingshan had no choice but to wear a hat the whole time. After that, Siwei took off her hat and complimented her on how cute her bangs were, which made Dingshan feel much more confident. Unexpectedly, she was also very good at playing billiards, which made Zichi clap his hands in approval. While she was happily playing with her friends, Teacher Lu came over at home. Dingshan's mother was worried that something important had happened that made him come all the way. It turned out that Teacher Lu wanted to discuss Dingshan's choice of class. When she heard that the teacher looked down on her daughter, she got angry and insisted that her daughter was still the second best in her class in middle school. That night, Dingshan said goodbye to Siyue and returned home. She saw that her mother was very upset and was immediately questioned about whether Dingshan had asked for permission to cut her hair like that. She blamed herself for working hard to raise her daughter, but when it came time to ask her to choose a social science major, Dingshan did not listen. She asked her to immediately change to the social science major, then stood up and went back to her room. Dingshan's father called her over to talk. He said that the teacher had come to her house today to give her mother the registration form, and then asked why she had hidden the fact that she had registered for the science class from her parents. Dingshan replied that she was having a lot of fun in class now and didn't want to leave her friends. Her father made a condition that if her final exam scores were bad in the near future, she would have to change classes. The next morning, Dingshan pinned her hair up and went to school. Teacher Lu's class was as intense as ever. Dingshan felt regretful at the thought of possibly having to leave her friends. Seeing her sadness, Siwei wrote a a letter of comfort. During recess, Dingshan's father came to school and said that her mother had agreed to let her stay in her current class, but she had to get 270 points. Hearing this number, Dingshan knew that it would be difficult for her to do so. When she got to her seat, she immediately asked Siyue if there was any way to help her get 270 points. Siyue thought for a moment and said that with Dingshan's level, even 250 points would be difficult. During the meal, Dingshan saw that her mother had cooked many delicious dishes. She picked up a piece for her mother, but her mother picked up a piece for her younger brother, as if she was deliberately being cold to her daughter. After eating, her mother went into the room and told Dingshan that she would take her to get her glasses recut next week. The next morning, when she went to class, Dingshan received a test with 63 points, making her lose hope of getting a high score. Seeing this, Siyue pointed out the basic mistakes and said that everything could be done just by applying the formula. After that, Dingshan left her seat and left the classroom, accidentally meeting Bai Kong. The two of them went to a quiet place. Dingshan was very happy to have Bai Kong take a photo with her. She didn't expect that he was already a university student. Dingshan said goodbye to Bai Kong and left, but he called her back to take another photo, then printed it out and gave it to her. Holding the photo, Dingshan went into class in a happy mood. Shadi saw the photo and praised the photographer for taking a beautiful photo and praised the photographer's skill, while Siyue still mentioned Dingshan's test score of 63 points. He also gave her 2 more exam codes to do and told that he would check that test tomorrow morning. Dingshan told him to focus on his math exam first, but Siyue sulked and said that in that case he would just ignore her. Then he left ahead of her. The next day at school, Dingshan didn't see Siyue. It turned out that he had gone to the Olympics. Looking at that empty seat, she realized that she could never forget him, and at the same time understood that she had to fight for her own goal. Meanwhile, Shadi was following someone when KK approached and startled her. After school, Zichi did not wait for Shadi to go home together, but went with another girl. KK said that there was a way to make Zichi like Shadi, but she was hungry at that time, so the two of them went to the cafeteria. There, they also met Dingshan and caught Zichi eating with another girl. A moment later, Zichi approached, even drank Shadi's water, and asked her to go home together, but Shadi angrily refused, so he had to leave first. The next morning, Shadi invited the whole class to her birthday party. She also said loudly that there were only Dingshan and KK, so everyone should come along to make it more fun. She hadn't even finished speaking when Teacher Liu walked in. He reminded everyone that after the National Day holiday the monthly exam would take place, asking if the students intended to just fool around and not take the exam anymore. Then he told Shadi to return to her seat and turn to leave. In the afternoon, Shadi brought Dingshan a nice set of clothes and said that no one would look at her when she wore them, so she gave them to Dingshan. KK saw this and wanted to help Dingshan fix her hair. Today was Shadi's birthday, but the 3 girls went to the mall together. Dingshan and KK were busy studying, so no one paid attention to Shadi. Just then, Zichi appeared and gave her a gift, making Shadi extremely happy. She hugged the gift and felt extremely warm inside. After that, Shadi, Zichi and KK went out to eat together, but Dingshan didn't go because she was busy studying. During that time, her wallet was stolen by a thief. Dingshan immediately chased after him, but unexpectedly was lured to his gang's base. She was scared and hid in a nearby house. Siyue ran over and was beaten up by them. Luckily, his friend appeared in time and chased the thugs away. Siyue pulled Dingshan to a quiet place to calm her down, then took her home. Before parting, she told him to try hard, and she had to try hard too. After receiving the message, Siyue rushed back to the dormitory. Dingshan returned to her room and called him. He said he was in the dormitory, so she didn't have to worry about him anymore. Dingshan was about to say something when her mother came in and she quickly turned off her phone. She brought her a plate of fruit, but her mother's stern gaze made it impossible for Dingshan to avoid it. In the end, she confiscated the phone. Today was truly the most unlucky day for Dingshan. Meanwhile, Shadi was being celebrated by Zichi for her birthday, and suddenly 2 friends came uninvited. Zichi forcefully stood up to chase them away to help Shadi. In her eyes at this moment, there was only admiration for her deskmate. Siyue's math Olympiad had also arrived. On this side, Dingshan was taking part in the monthly exam. Teacher Liu picked Siyue up at the school gate. Siyue didn't say much, but only reminded of the exam answers. Hearing that, the teacher smiled. Considering it was okay, Teacher Liu asked Siyue where he went last night, but he immediately ran away without bothering to report. After participating in the Olympics, Siyue returned to class. The class monitor announced that the monthly exam results were out. This time, Teacher Liu would talk to each student individually, and for them, talking to him was no different from a form of mental torture. Dingshan smiled when she saw the test paper. She finally finally got 270 points. She happily brought it home to show her mother. She said that she had achieved the score her mother required and wanted her phone back. Because of her high score, her mother agreed. The next morning, Shan was called to the office by Teacher Lu. Besides reminding her about her studies, he also said that she was affecting Cua. If the two of them continued to be so close, Teacher Lu would change seats for her. Shan said that if her test scores next month didn't improve, she wouldn't need to be reminded. She would change seats herself. Shan went home and told Shadi. Shadi was angry, wondering who had told Teacher Lu to break up their friendship like that. Shan studied very hard in class. She studied day and night. Even during recess, Sia was also surprised that she studied so hard. Sia's basketball competition was coming up. The girls in the class asked Shan to draw them a poster to cheer for Sia and Ziqi. Shadi thought that Shan's drawing skills were good, so she asked Shan to draw a poster to cheer for Ziqi. After finishing drawing, the three girls went to the basketball court to hold up the poster to cheer for the person they liked. Cua saw Shan's cute face and was motivated to compete. He stepped onto the court and scored continuously. Teacher Lu came to cheer and shouted loudly to encourage Cua to score continuously. The opponent played dirty and pushed Cu down. He stood up and used one hand to throw the ball into the basket. Cua threw the decisive shot from afar, and finally his team won the competition. He turned back to look at Shan and smiled at her. The next morning, Cua did not come to class. Teacher Lu said that he won first place in the National Math Olympiad. He also got a high score in the basketball competition, so the whole class admired Cu. That night, Shan threw a rock at Cu's window. It turned out that Cu had a cold and could not go to school. Shan cooked porridge for him. She asked Cu if he had been punished by Teacher Lu because he ran out to save her that night. Cua did not say anything. Shan felt guilty. If it were not for her, Cua would not have been punished. Cua comforted Shan for a few sentences and said it was not her fault. The next morning, Shan cooked a pot of porridge for Cua, but her younger brother came to eat it and said it was bad. Shan's mother went into the room and read her diary and got angry. She questioned her daughter about not focusing on studying but falling in love, while her parents worked hard to support her education. Shan threw the diary out the window and turned back to ask her mother if she was satisfied. Then she ran downstairs to look for it. Just then, Cua passed by and wanted to help her find it, but the scrap collectors probably took it away. Shan wiped her tears and said it was okay, because it wasn't important anyway. Cua invited Shan to come over to his house and cook instant noodles for her. Shan sadly said that her mother had read her diary and that she had never trusted or understood her. This time, she and her mother argued, and their relationship became even more distant. Cua just praised Shan's mother for treating her well, and then went inside to show her the robot model he had made himself. It danced a song that made Shan happy. Cua told Shan to eat quickly and go home. Even though Shan didn't want to go home, she still had to go home. Cua took Shan home, but her mother was already waiting downstairs. She asked Cua if Shan loved or was close to a male friend at school, so she could deal with that male friend. Cua was scared when she heard that, so she said she didn't know. That night, Shan sat in her room. Now that she had lost her diary, she had also lost something to record the beautiful times they had together. The monthly exam had come again, and she was still ranked 27th and couldn't move up. Teacher Lu called Shan over and asked her to change seats. As promised, Shan sat with Shadi. Cua couldn't hide his sadness. When it was time for lunch, everyone thought of a reason for change seats with Cu. Before they could even think of a way, Cu approached them. Ziqi pulled Cua to sit with the three girls. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. KK saw this and quickly left. Ziqi asked Shan and Cua what was wrong. Shan said of course it was fine. On the way back, Shan walked quickly so as not to have to go with Cu. He ran up to ask her why she changed seats. Shan didn't dare to say a word. Cu saw this and didn't force her anymore. He told her to go home. That night, Cu texted a few friends for help. The next morning, at the basketball court, Shan complained that Cua hadn't said anything to her all day. The class president even came to talk to Cua privately. On the way home from school, Shan angrily kicked the bottle. She saw Cua waiting for her. He asked her why she had to vent her anger on the bottle. Shan didn't say anything, just sighed and went home. When she got home, her father invited her to Cua's house for dinner. Cua's parents were back from a business trip. Of course, Shan didn't want to go. Shan's mother went to Cua's house. She complained that her daughter was bad at studying, so she was also worried. On top of that, the little girl didn't listen to her parents. Cua saw this and said a few few words for Ding Shan to reassure Ding Shan's mother about her daughter. The next morning, Ding Shan was determined to study hard. She was determined not to mention Siyu again. As soon as she finished speaking, Siyu appeared. She didn't want to mention it, but why did he keep appearing? Shadi saw this and asked everyone if they had any plans this weekend. Ding Shan said of course she would study at home, and Siyu didn't have any plans either. Shadi pulled Zichi aside. She planned to invite everyone to go out this weekend, and on the other hand, she also wanted to help Ding Shan and Siyu make up. At Ding Shan's house, her mother gave her father 2 movie tickets. She told him to give them to his daughter. He did not agree. The reason was that she bought it herself, so she brought it to her daughter. Why did she have to go through him? Ding Shan's mother had no choice but to go in and give her a bag. Inside were new clothes. Ding Shan happily accepted it. She looked at the price and saw that all the items were expensive. Her mother was spending money freely today. Ding Shan thanked her mother and brought the movie tickets to the meeting place with her family. Ding Shan waited for a long time, but Shadi did not come. It turned out that Shadi and Zichi were secretly standing far away to let Siyu and Ding Shan meet. The two met and went to the concert. Shadi also took her ticket and went in with Zichi. It was too crowded here, so people jostled each other. Ding Shan unfortunately sprained her ankle. Siyu helped her to a seat. On this side, Shadi and Zichi were also being watched by KK and Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen put a cloth over Zichi's head and hit him. Just at this moment, Siyu came over. Zhang Chen said that this was a bad guy who needed to be punched, and Siyu also punched and kicked enthusiastically. It was not until Shadi arrived that they realized it was Zichi, and it turned out that there had been a slight misunderstanding. Zhang Chen touched Zichi to apologize, but he was still sulking because he was in so much pain. Ding Shan and Siyu went to look for her younger brother, who was being blackmailed by his friends. She wanted to go to school tomorrow to help her brother, but the boy was afraid that his older sister wouldn't be able to help, so he told her to let it go. Siyu took out a gift box for Ding Shan, which was a drawing tool, and he had asked Zhang Chen to order it from overseas. Ding Shan was moved and thanked Siyu. Then the two walked home together. The next morning in class, Teacher Lu announced that the school was holding a painting competition. Shadi quickly went up to register for her friend. Ding Shan still wanted to go home and ask her mother if she would let her go to the painting competition, but she did not agree because it was already the second semester of grade 11, so Ding Shan had to prioritize her studies. She only did that for the best of her child. When she got to class, Ding Shan was upset because her mother did not let her go to the painting competition. Siyu grabbed the registration form and brought it to the school. After that, Ding Shan's parents dressed up nicely to prepare for a date. Ding Shan's younger brother deliberately prevented her from going to the painting competition. Siyu stood downstairs and called Ding Shan down, and he asked 2 of his friends to look after her younger brother. Ding Shan went downstairs and let Siyu take her to the painting competition. When they arrived at the art center, Siyu told Ding Shan to do her best. She entered the exam room and opened the set of crayons that Siyu had given her. After Ding Shan finished her exam, Siyu drove her home. She looked at the messy house and was very worried because her parents were about to return. So the group of people quickly cleaned up together. When they finished cleaning, Ding Shan's parents came back just in time. Ding Shan said that her friend had come up here to study in a group and help her younger brother with his homework. Her mother was happy to hear that and wanted to invite her friend to stay for dinner, but the 3 friends made up an excuse and ran back first. No one dared to stay. The next morning, Shadi opened the fortune-telling book for Ding Shan. Ding Shan's luck today was not good. At this moment, Teacher Lu called Ding Shan to receive the prize from the painting competition. She brought the prize back to show off to her friends, feeling happy. After school, Ding Shan and Siyu walked home. He told her about Zhang Chen. That friend had a bad relationship with his father, and Zhang Chen had a hot temper. If he was not satisfied, he would confront his father to the end. Ding Shan saw that everyone had their own dreams, and everyone wanted their dreams to come true. The next morning, Ding Shan was sleepy and had a stomachache because she was on her period. Siyu went over and gave Ding Shan a hot compress, and he told her to apply it to the uncomfortable area. He happily got her some warm water and put on a coat for her because he was afraid she would be cold. The two skipped physical education class and sat in class to chat. Siyu's dream was to get into Tsinghua University, while Ding Shan's dream was to just get into a normal university. Siyu will help Ding Shan pass the entrance exam to the school she wants. Ding Shan was touched when she heard Siyu say that. She lay down and watched him study. After that, Siyu and Ding Shan studied everywhere. She also worked hard on her homework, and Siyu tried his best to explain the lessons to her. A few weeks later, when she received the test, Ding Shan's grades improved a lot. She happily went home to show her mother and found out that Bai Kong was there too. Taking the opportunity, Ding Shan asked her mother for permission to go camping with her friends this weekend. Bai Kong saw this and also asked to help Ding Shan so she could go out with her friends. The camping day arrived. Everyone happily grilled meat together. Only Siyue and Ziqi were unhappy because Bai Kong stole the girls' attention from them. Siyue also did not forget to remind Ding Shan about studying. Ziqi felt that Siyue was a bit too much, going out and still mentioning studying. At night, everyone did not forget their group study task. Bai Kong approached and invited them to join in singing and lighting a campfire. Ding Xian's group of friends joined the crowd. They held hands and laughed happily. After the party, Siyue sat alone with Ding Xian. He gave her a small picture of the Milky Way. Behind the picture was a line of encouragement that Siyue wanted to send to Ding Xian. The two of them confided in each other. Ding Xian used to be an introvert with no friends, but after meeting Siyue and everyone else, she became more open. Then the two of them accidentally sat close to each other and their eyes met. Siyue was startled and said that they both had to try their best. Ding Xian received a call from her mother asking her to come back immediately. Something happened to her grandmother, so the whole family went back to their hometown. She had no choice but to leave her daughter alone at home and asked Siyue's mother to look after her daughter. Although she was very worried about Ding Xian, the urgent matter forced her to go. Ding Xian was now reluctantly living with Siyue. In the evening, Ding Xian asked Siyue's mother for permission to leave. She had been at his house all day. As soon as she got home, Ding Xian noticed a stranger outside, wearing a black mask and a black hat. She was scared and hid in the bathroom. She took out her stick to chase him away. It turned out to be Siyu. He came here to let her know that her house had been targeted by thieves. He had even put a sign on it to be safe. Ding Xian had better go to Siyu's house. The next morning, Ding Xian packed her luggage and waited for Siyu to pick her up. He took her to buy some personal items and snacks so that the two of them could eat at home. While they were walking, they saw KK and Zhang Chen walking together. KK realized something was wrong. She immediately asked Ding Xian what happened. Ding Xian couldn't hide it and told her everything. Ding Xian was currently at Siyu's house. When Shadi received the news, she called Ding Xian immediately. Before she could finish speaking, Siyue's mother walked in. She showed her some of Siyue's childhood photos. He was embarrassed and took all the photos and chased his mother out. Shadi still hadn't turned off her phone. She asked them to have a group meeting tomorrow. The next morning, Siyue went into the room to wake Ding Xian up for school. The two of them went to school together. Ding Xian's face was brighter than usual. Shadi asked if she was very happy at Siyue's house. Ding Xian also asked Shadi if she had also been at Ziqi's house when she was little. Shadi remembered and told Ding Xian about Ziqi's funny stories when he had been little. So, as if by fate, the two couples had been arranged by God to be each other's soulmates. At night, only Siyue and Ding Xian ate dinner together. Siyue's parents went to work late and didn't come home. He was afraid that his cooking wouldn't be good, so he asked Ding Xian to go out to eat. She refused immediately because home-cooked meals were still better. After they finished eating, Ding Xian brought a plate of fruit for Siyu. The two of them ate and watched TV happily. The next afternoon, Siyue and Ding Xian returned home. The two heard his parents arguing. Siyue was a little sad, mixed with embarrassment. He didn't say anything and went back to his room. At night, Ding Xian brought Siyu a glass of water. She sat next to him and said that she would keep this afternoon's events a secret for the rest of her life. After listening, Siyu asked Ding Xian if she felt that his family was not as harmonious as she thought. Ding Xian was not someone who was happy to see other people's pain. Siyu confided in Ding Xian about his family. He promised that when he grew up, he would definitely not let the people around him suffer. Ding Xian was happy to hear these warm words. After that, she went back to the room to write an online diary. She had to write it here so that her mother could not read it. The next morning, Teacher Lu came into the classroom and said that a classmate's family had special circumstances. His father had an accident at the construction site, so he hoped that everyone in the class would donate to support his family during this difficult time. At the sports field, Shadi said that although this guy was petty, he was pitiful when he was in such a situation. Ding Xian decided to donate all her pocket money. At night, she studied with Siyu. She asked if he would be admitted directly to Tsinghua University if he won the final round of the Olympic Math Olympiad. Siyu wanted Ding Xian to apply there with him as well. The next morning, Ding Xian dreamed of something and woke up happily. Shadi kept asking her what she was dreaming about. That made her so happy. Ding Xian quickly said no. Shadi told Ding Xian to cherish this time in high school. When it was time to graduate, she and Siyu would each go their separate ways. At night, at Siyue's house, Ding Xian couldn't concentrate on listening to his lecture. Her mind was only thinking about how she and he would be separated after graduation. It was raining heavily today, so Siyue's house had a power outage. He took a candle to light up the room. Shan was a little scared when she heard the thunder. Siyue took out her earphones and turned on a song to make her feel less scared. The two of them sat listening to music and watching the rainy sky together. Shan told Siyue that she also wanted to take the entrance exam to Tsinghua University, probably just because she wanted to be near him. The next morning, Zhang Chen and his father argued in front of the park. Siyue went over and pulled him aside. He told Zhang Chen's father to go home first, so Siyue could talk to Zhang Chen. The next day, the four friends studied together in the library. Shan said that the school she wanted to go to had a very high standard. Siyue invited some friends to say goodbye to Zhang Chen this weekend, who was about to join the army. Zhang Chen was hanging out with KK. He wanted to invite her to the movies, but she refused. Zhang Chen gave KK a keychain. He said it was a farewell gift. She shyly said she would keep it for him until he returned. Zhang Chen wished KK good luck in the university entrance exam and to get into the school she wanted. Then he invited Siyue to play billiards, and Shan also came along. Siyue asked Shan to play billiards to surprise Zhang Chen. Sure enough, Shan hit every ball. Shan's billiard skills were even better than Zhang Chen's. At school, Siyue's Olympic finals were coming up. Teacher Lu came to cheer for him. He hoped he would get a ticket to Tsinghua University. When Shan heard this, she wanted to make something for Siyu. Shadi suggested that Shan could make a lucky charm for Siyue herself. That night, Shan sat up all night to make a gift for Siyue. The next morning, Shan went to see Siyue to wish him good luck in his exams, and she even gave him the charm she had worked so hard to make. Siyue smiled and patted her head, thanking her very much. He also reminded her that the final exams were coming up, so she had to do well on her tests and get a high score. More importantly, she had to wait for Siyue to come back, and he would lecture her. Teacher Lu went to tell Siyue not to be nervous today. Just show your ability like every day. Teacher Lu and Shan stood outside watching Siyue's back as he walked in. She clasped her hands and prayed, believing that his future would be very good. That night, Siyue went home to tease Shan to relieve her stress after the Olympics. Suddenly, Shan's mother called her. Her mother told her that her grandmother had passed away, so she should go back to her hometown. The next morning, everyone at Shan's house was sad. Bai Kong also came to comfort her. After something like this happened, he should go back to see what would happen. Shan said that it was really sad to be separated from family. That night, at Siyue's house, his parents argued again. His father was busy with work and his mother always suspected that he had a lover outside. The argument never ended, making Siyue very depressed. If he continued to live in a house like this, he would not be happy. Shan also saw that her father was sad, so she went out to comfort him with a few words to ease his sadness. Back in her room, Shan called Siyue, sang him a Christmas song, and tried to imagine his face and expression. Both of them hid their sadness in their hearts and only said good things. Scene changes to classroom. Teacher Lu holds up Siyue's certificate. He announces that Siyue has passed the national exam and officially becomes a student of Tsinghua University. Receiving the congratulations of his friends, Siyue is very happy. Shan is also happy for him. She knew that his future was very good. So Siyue's exam is over. Shan is back to sit with Siyu. Needless to say, she is very happy. Siyue gives Shan a timetable and wants her to follow it to study. Shan raises her fists and encourages herself to do her best. Teacher Lu praises Shan's obvious progress. It's the end of the year, so everyone is studying hard. There are 106 days left until the exam. Teacher Lu also accompanies his students. The graduation day has arrived. Siyue stands on the podium to thank the teachers as a model student. He always talks about the positive things around him. The day of the college entrance exam finally arrived. Shan sat in the exam room with sweat dripping down. Her eyes gradually blurred. When she walked out of the school gate, she saw Siyue waiting for her. He wanted to invite her to go somewhere, but she refused. Today she wanted to go with Shadi more. That night, Shan cried to Shadi. She said that during the exam, her mind was blank, so she couldn't do well on the test. Shan tried so hard to study, but her results didn't improve. Shadi hugged this silly friend and said she was the same. The two girls hugged each other, crying and encouraging each other, and then the two of them danced and sang to forget their sadness. In the end, when they returned, they were both drunk. Shan unconsciously called Siyue's name. Now she just wished he was there to comfort and encourage her. Siyue and Ziqi walked over and called Dingshan's name. Her eyes looked up at Siyu. On the way home, Dingshan confided in him a lot. She always wondered if she would be able to live a simple life when she grew up, or if one day she and Siyue would become strangers. Then Dingshan kissed Siyue lightly on the cheek. Here, Shadi and Ziqi made a promise to each other. She agreed to every suggestion he made. Then Ziqi kissed Shadi on the lips. She responded to him with passionate kisses. The next morning, Dingshan's mother brought her a plate of fruit. Dingshan told her mother that she wanted to review for the exam again. Dingshan's mother did not agree because she was afraid that her daughter would not be able to bear the pressure if she took the exam. Again, Siyue asked Dingshan to go to the swimming pool to talk. Dingshan told him to go to Tsinghua University first. She would come to find him a year later. Siyue gave Dingshan an extremely cute robot. She named the robot April because deep in her heart, Dingshan always remembered the summer when she was 18. She smiled and said goodbye to that memorable summer. That morning, Dingshan started going to school again. She listened to the teacher's lectures diligently and did not dare to be lazy at all. The scene changes to Siyue's new home. His father was accused of faking his thesis. He now takes sedatives every day to relieve stress. Siyue told his father that he had gone to talk to the teacher today. If father was afraid that Siyue would be affected at school, he honestly said that he would not be afraid. He was not the only professor at Tsinghua University. Dingshan was determined to get into Tsinghua University. If that was the case, she would have to work harder than anyone else. Siyue called Dingshan and asked about her exam. He hoped that she was really okay so that she could come see him. The next morning, Dingshan only ate a little and then hugged her book again. Dingshan's mother initially disagreed because she was afraid that her daughter would study too much and become exhausted. Baikong went to find Dingshan. She told him about a male student in her cram school class. He had retaken the university entrance exam 3 times, and each time his score was lower than the last. Dingshan cried in fear. She was afraid that she would be like that boy. Although Dingshan wanted to study at Tsinghua University with Siyue, she felt that she was not good enough. Siyue went to find Dingshan and accidentally heard everything. Dingshan said. Baikong comforted Dingshan to relieve her pressure. The next morning, Siyue carried his luggage to Tsinghua University and received a congratulatory message from Dingshan. Siyue's university environment had many new things. The professor also favored him more than others and asked about his father's situation. He also shared the truth with the teacher, and there was a male student eavesdropping behind him. The national day had come. Dingshan called Shadi to confide. She said that Siyue rarely replied to her messages. He must have been very busy. Dingshan went to Tsinghua University to see Siyue. The two went in 2 different directions. Siyue's studies at school were very busy. He was participating in robot research as a team leader. Fei Lu followed Siyu into the research room to talk to him, and the male student who had eavesdropped the day before sent information about Siyue's father cheating to the school website. The classmates saw this and started gossiping. Siyue sent a message to the server and found out who the mastermind was. He went to question them and ended up fighting with the male student. Fei Lu saw them fighting and rushed in to stop them. In the end, she accidentally got pushed and dislocated her leg. Siyue kindly took her to the infirmary. From afar, Dingshan saw him with another girl. Dingshan sat in the car on the way home, with tears streaming down her face. She texted Siyue to end their relationship. Perhaps since Dingshan had decided to go back to school, the distance between her and Siyu had grown quite far. Dingshan looked up at the window and saw beautiful fireworks in the night sky. She remembered the time she had watched the fireworks with Siyu. Then she ran to the place where they had shared memories. Finally, Dingshan's dream of going to Tsinghua University had come true. She went to Tsinghua University to look for Siyue, but the school was too big. She couldn't find him anywhere. Dingshan decided to go to the boys' dormitory to find him and confess her feelings, but unexpectedly, Siyue rejected her feelings because he had a new life. Later, at the hospital, Siyue asked the staff about his father's hospital fees. The doctor also urged him to quickly pay the hospital fees. Now he couldn't even take care of his family. How could he take care of Dingshan? Changing scenes, Dingshan went to the dormitory and met her roommates. Everyone was very friendly, and she started her student life. The next morning, Siyue went to the hospital to visit her father. His mother came to tell him to go back to school. His mother took care of everything here. Siyue obediently returned to school. His mother told him to remember to eat well and focus on studying. He shouldn't worry too much about his father and affect his health. Dingshan and her roommates went to participate in the school's extracurricular program. Here she saw Siyue. Dingshan wanted to go to him, but he was gone, so she had to join the manga club. Dingshan submitted her works to the club president. She searched and asked for news about Cua everywhere, but he seemed to live a very private life. Shan accidentally met him in the advisor's room. She saw him handing in something. Cua greeted Shan politely and left. Scene change. The restaurant manager met Cua and said that a customer complained about his attitude. It was none other than the male student who had eavesdropped on Cua. Cua understood what the manager meant. He said he would work his last shift today. After work, Cua went to the hospital and saw his mother eating alone. He went up to his mother and gave her his salary. Cua's mother felt sorry for her son, who had to go to school and work at the same time. The next morning, when Cua went to school, he received news that Shan was being followed by some pervert. He returned to the lab and used his smart brain to find that pervert. At night, Cua went back to his dormitory. Shan had been sitting there waiting for him for a long time. She just wanted to ask him if he had ever had feelings for her in the past 4 years. Cua didn't say anything and just kept silent. Shan left in frustration. She vented her anger on the tree and the trash can. In the distance, a camera was pointing its lens at her. The next morning, Shan blocked Cua's best friend's way from college. She wanted him to take her to Cua's new restaurant. When Shan arrived, she found out that Tong Zheng had badmouthed Cua. She asked Cua's best friend to bring the lunchbox to Cua, and the friend had no choice but to agree. Cua opened it and saw that it was Shan's lunchbox. At this time, he looked outside and discovered that someone was secretly taking pictures of Shan. Cua went over and grabbed the camera and took out the memory card. He forbade the other person from taking pictures of Shan anymore. Then Cua called a taxi for Shan to go home. She didn't dare to go home alone, so he went with her. So Shan was sure that Cua still cared about her. Shan didn't understand why Cua acted like that towards her. He just coldly said that he would go abroad next semester, so he didn't want to date anymore. When Cua got home, Ziqi scolded him. It was obvious that they both liked each other, but they didn't get together. As long as they understood each other, getting together was easy. Cua told Ziqi not to interfere in his business from now on. In the lab, Cua was sitting and doing research when Shan came in. She told him that no matter what happened, she would always be by his side. Cua pretended not to hear and didn't care. When Shan left the room, he felt like he was about to collapse. The next morning, Shan went to register for scientific research. She wanted to go abroad with Cua. No matter how hard the research was, Shan still tried to be with Cua more. Shan himself would never leave Cua. The next morning, Cua went to the lab with a happy face. He gave his best friend his homework and went home to take a nap. Shan came to the cafe to study. Cua also came out to sit with her during lunch break. He told her not to think about random things all day. Now that she felt like it was still too late to change her mind, Shan had made up her mind about what she was doing. She told him to rest assured and not to worry about her. The next morning, Shan was accepted into the robotics research team. She happily rushed to see Cua. The advisor was also talking to him about Shan. He thought that she really had a lot of potential. She got a high score on the test this time, which surprised him quite a bit. At that moment, Shan happily walked in. The advisor saw her and praised her for doing very well on the test, then left to let Shan talk to Cua privately. He worriedly asked her again if she was sure she liked this research subject. Shan's confident affirmation made Cua feel more at ease. The professor gave Shan a very difficult assignment. She couldn't figure it out after thinking about it for a long time, so in the end she had to ask Cua for help. He helped her with her homework, and the two of them sat next to each other. Cua still thought that Shan shouldn't participate in the research. Seeing that he looked down on her, she went back to the research room to continue studying. As soon as Cua stepped out, the power suddenly went out. He turned around to look for Shan, but couldn't find her. It turned out that she was standing right behind him to suddenly scare him. Cua was startled and fell down, lying on top of Shan. Their faces were extremely close to each other, their eyes showing that they wanted to kiss right away. Suddenly, the power came back on in the research class, and the two of them were startled and stood up awkwardly. The next morning, the professor praised Shan for doing a good job on the test, but he still wanted her to think carefully before choosing this path of scientific research. The professor asked what Shan's purpose was if Cua wasn't here. Shan gave Cua a box of chocolates and a drawing of an extremely cute April robot. Seeing the box of chocolates on the table, Cua couldn't bear to eat them, but his classmate dared to open one to eat. Cua got angry when he saw her eat one. She took the box of chocolate and said that she could just buy him another one. She then even took the box of chocolates back to the manga club for Shan to see. When Shan asked where the box of chocolates came from, she said that Cua gave it to her. Shan heard this and went to find Cua Siyue to ask him why he gave her chocolate to someone else. It was obvious that Ding Shan had tried her best to get them together, but Siyue didn't see her efforts. Ding Shan asked if Siyue didn't have any feelings for her, that the past 4 years were just like a dream. From now on, Ding Shan never looked for Siyue again. Ding Shan stood at the bus stop until late at night and still hadn't returned. Bai Kong came closer and recognized her. He immediately invited her to get in the car and took her around the city to relieve her boredom. Bai Kong took Ding Shan to the museum. Here she stood and stared at a painting of a peaceful countryside. Bai Kong praised Ding Shan's painting as being even more beautiful than this one. He hoped that if she had a talent for painting, she wouldn't waste it. Besides, she didn't have to follow anyone's path, but could walk her own path. The next day, Ding Shan made her decision. She went to the comic company and submitted her work. Ding Shan wanted to participate in the drawing competition organized by the company. The company manager agreed to accept Ding Shan's drawing, and she said that she would contact Ding Shan when she had any information. The scene changed. The professor informed Siyue that Ding Shan said she had found a job, so she had asked to quit her job at the research lab. Siyue felt very good when he heard that Ding Shan had found her own direction. The next morning, at Tsinghua University, Ding Shan and Siyue met, but they just passed each other without saying hello. Ding Shan received information that the company's manager wanted to sign a contract with her, so Ding Shan was also overjoyed. Ding Shan went to the company and signed the contract with the company. At Bai Kong's restaurant, she invited everyone in the manga club to dinner, including Siyue. Fei Lu returned the chocolate box to Siyu and apologized for what happened the other day. Bai Kong kept showing his concern for Ding Shan. This made Fei Lu exclaim that they looked very good together. Bai Kong also confessed that he really liked Ding Shan. Siyue felt uncomfortable when he heard this and asked for permission to go out. Seeing this, Bai Kong also followed Siyue out, reminding Siyue not to treat Ding Shan casually. Siyue did not give up. He asked what his relationship with Ding Shan had to do with Bai Kong. Bai Kong replied that no matter what kind of relationship Siyue and Ding Shan had, she could only be with him for the rest of her life. Ding Shan stood outside and heard everything. Siyue chased her outside. He apologized to her for saying hurtful words that day, but for what Ding Shan heard, Siyue only treated her as a joke, and he acted as if she would follow him forever. Ding Shan wanted to end her relationship with Siyu. The next day, Ding Shan received a call from Shadi. It turned out that Shadi had found Ziqi. Ziqi was clearly there, but Siyue said he didn't know where Ziqi was. Shadi and Ding Shan followed Siyu home. This time, Shadi would definitely catch Ziqi. Shadi stood outside and knocked on the door, and Siyu had no choice but to open the door and let Shadi in. After finding the person she was looking for, Shadi chased Siyu and Ding Shan away. Shadi kept scolding Ziqi in the room, and he could only sit and listen. Then Ziqi yelled at Shadi, causing her to leave in a huff. Ziqi thought for a moment and then chased after her. Hearing the sound of an accident from afar, Ziqi held his breath and went out to sea. Fortunately, it wasn't his beloved Shadi. When she turned around, he held her in his arms, as if he was afraid that she would disappear and no longer exist in this world. Seeing the two friends reconcile, Siyue and Ding Shan also looked at each other and smiled. At night, Siyue went to the hospital to visit his father. Siyue's father said that if he was too busy, he shouldn't come over because he would be very tired. Siyue bragged to his father that Ding Shan had also been admitted to Tsinghua University. In his parents' eyes, Ding Shan was a good and energetic girl. He felt guilty for affecting Siyue. Siyue's mother came out and heard her husband and son talking. It turned out that all these years of unreasonable jealousy had put her husband under so much pressure. She put a warm coat on him. Siyue's father turned to him and told him that no matter where Siyue was, he believed Siyue would do well. The next day, the manga club and the robotics class went to the Red Horse Company to participate in a competition. This company was also owned by Bai Kong. Siyue found a way to talk to Ding Shan privately. He explained that he had pushed her away for her own good, but only regretted it when she had really left recently. However, Siyue was afraid that Ding Shan would see him in such a miserable state, and that made him feel inferior to her. After all, Siyue wanted Ding Shan's future to follow her own wishes, not something she had to do just because he liked it. Ding Shan said that she pursued him because she liked him, but now she understood that feelings had to come from both sides. It couldn't be just because he told her to come, she came. He told her to go, she left. She asked Siyue if she had ever thought about what it was like to like someone, but he didn't know how to answer that question. At that moment, Fei Lu appeared, so Ding Shan returned to her room. She asked Siyue if he really liked Ding Shan, and he frankly admitted it. The next morning, morning, Siyue went to a nearby amusement park with Ding Xian. He asked his close friends for advice on where to go, and they all suggested a haunted house. But because he was very afraid of ghosts, he had to change to a maze. He suggested that if he got out first, Ding Xian wouldn't be cold to him anymore, and if she won, he would do whatever she wanted. After that, the two continued to play balloon shooting and swinging, forgetting their original intention of deciding who won. While drinking water, Ding Xian remembered that she had won and asked Siyue to pretend to be a stuffed animal for her to see. He immediately dressed up in a cute yellow bear costume, holding a balloon in his hand, and gave it to her, making her laugh. When they returned home that night, the two of them encountered a rainstorm and took shelter in front of a grocery store. At that moment, Siyue held Ding Xian's hand, pulled her closer, and kissed her gently on the lips. Ding Xian was startled and let go and ran away. Siyue quickly bought an umbrella and chased after her. When they got back to the hotel, Siyue asked Ding Xian if she would attend the opening ceremony of the robot competition tomorrow. Before she could answer, Bai Kong had already arrived. Siyue answered all of Bai Kong's questions for Ding Xian. Seeing that Bai Kong had been waiting for her for a long time, Ding Xian sat down and talked to him. Bai Kong gave her documents about the Huaiqing company, which was also looking for an artist, so he wanted to introduce them to Ding Xian. Bai Kong pointed out the good and bad sides of the company. Siyue listened to the story and occasionally sarcastically mocked Bai Kong. When they finished talking, both Siyue and Bai Kong wanted to take Ding Xian back to their room, so they both followed Ding Xian all the way to her room door. Siyue said that she had something to tell Ding Xian, so Bai Kong left first. Siyue told Ding Xian that the opportunity Bai Kong had just given her was very good, so he hoped she would seize it. If it's something Ding Xian likes, Siyue will support it with all his heart. He then turned around and left. The next day, Siyue waited for Ding Xian to attend the robot opening ceremony, but Fei Lu locked her in the warehouse. She even deliberately let the driver drive away while Ding Xian's bag was still there. After the opening ceremony ended, Siyue went to look for Ding Xian. It turned out that she was locked in the dressing room. He kicked the door open to save her. Siyue took Ding Xian to the opening ceremony. She stepped onto the stage and Siyue turned on the projector. The projector showed a very cute scene of dinosaurs flying into space. These images were exactly like the ones in her online diary. Siyue held Ding Xian's hand and said that the more he looked at her face, the more beautiful she seemed. Ding Xian was the most beautiful person in the world. While the scene was romantic, security came in, resulting in the two of them being detained. Luckily, Bai Kong went to bail them out. When they got to the hotel, Bai Kong announced that Huaiqing Company agreed to sign a contract with Ding Xian and that he would pick her up tomorrow morning and take her to buy new clothes. Seeing the situation, Siyue asked if there was anything wrong with the clothes his girlfriend wore, which left Bai Kong unable to say anything more. Siyue added a few more sarcastic sentences like, Bai Kong didn't know what Ding Xian liked or wanted, that the senior always did as he pleased. The next afternoon, Ding Xian went with Bai Kong, and Siyue wanted to go too. Bai Kong saw him. He said Siyue was clinging on and refusing to let go, but Siyue pointed out that Bai Kong was also just like him. The two of them started to get angry. Luckily, Ding Xian stopped them. The two boys then went to buy water and gave it to Ding Xian. She received 2 cups but didn't know which one to drink. Siyue helped her drink 1 cup and left the one he bought for her to drink. The next night, everyone went out to eat and drink happily, and they played a game of truth or dare. Lu Fei kept asking difficult questions to make Ding Xian drink. Siyue and Bai Kong took turns drinking for her. The next day, at the awards ceremony, Siyue went up to receive the award. That night, Ding Xian also wore a beautiful dress and high heels. Bai Kong took her to Huaiqing Company to introduce her to the bosses, but when the director wanted to sign the contract, Ding Xian refused. Everything was really different from what she thought. The director didn't listen to her presentation or understand anything about her work. He only prioritized profit and kept using persuasive words to force Ding Xian to sign. At this moment, Siyue came over and told the director that if he forced her to sign the contract again, he would be breaking the law. Siyue pulled Ding Xian out of there and changed her into a pair of shoes that fit her feet. Bai Kong chased them outside and explained to Ding Xian that he just wanted her life to be better. But this was not the life Ding Xian wanted. The shoes that she didn't want to wear in the first place, but forced herself to wear, would definitely hurt her feet and make her uncomfortable. Ding Xian thanked Bai Kong and held Siyue's hand and left. Siyue wanted to walk with Ding Xian for the rest of the way, and Ding Xian said that she had never changed in all these years, and from now on, she would never let go of his hand again. Shio hugged Ding Xian and silently thanked her very much. The next morning, everyone returned to Tsinghua University. Siyue helped Ding Xian carry her luggage onto the bus and then pushed the friend who was sitting in her seat away. Ding Xian slept in the bus bus and leaned her head on Siyue's shoulder. When they arrived at Tsinghua University, Ding Shan received a request to write a new chapter for her manga series, so she quickly returned to the dormitory to work. CA from the research department also received good news. The director wanted to cooperate with his research team. Hearing the name of the company, Siyue refused. He questioned why such a big company wanted to cooperate with a group of sophomores, and his team still had no clear direction. They could cooperate with a more stable and complete company, or when his team had more experience in robot manufacturing. In general, the company wanted to cooperate just to buy the copyright of his team's robot. The professor found it reasonable and very convincing. He agreed with him and thought more about their cooperation proposal. Baikong came to find Siyue and invited him to cooperate with Boss Tron of Great Light Company to steal their information. After hearing these words, Siyue realized that Baikong was someone who would do anything for money. Siyue had nothing more to say. He was about to leave when Baikong took out a file, which contained information about the person who had harmed his father that year. Looking at that file, Siyue had to think more. After that, he went to the hospital to visit his father. Hearing his father's words of encouragement, he became more certain of his decision to refuse. Ding Shan went to Siyue's house and gave him a pair of shoes she had just bought. She bragged to him that her royalties were also high, and that Siyue would not have to work hard in the future, and that Ding Shan would earn money to support him. She hoped that Siyue would always keep his original wish. As soon as she finished speaking, Ding Shan also encountered trouble. She was tricked by a company into signing a contract to get the copyright of the story she wrote and sell it elsewhere at a higher price. Ding Shan naively believed that there were still many good people, so she could not avoid the trap set by others, and considered this a big lesson for her. Siyue told Ding Shan to find evidence to prove that the other company had deceived her so that she could sue. The next morning at the coffee shop, Siyue went to see the director of the Great Light Company. He wanted to receive 500,000 yuan from Mr. Chen. In return, he would sell his robot invention and work for him for 2 years after graduating. Ding Shan ran to find Siyu, opened the door and saw 2 lines of tears on his face. She hugged Siyu. The next morning, Siyu gave Baikong a card, in which was the 500,000 yuan he had paid Ding Shan. He warned Baikong not to get close to Ding Shan again. Siyue's patience also had its limits. Ding Shan went to Siyue's house and he cooked a table of food for her. She paid him the 500,000 yuan he had paid Baikong. She also asked him where he got so much money. Siyue said that he had sold the robot patent. Although it was his hard work, he could do it again later. He also asked Ding Shan where he got such a large sum of money. Ding Shan happily told Siyue that many artists like her had been cheated by that company, and they came to her to sue the owner of that company. In the end, the company was investigated and Ding Shan was paid back 500,000 yuan. The company she sold her work to also came to see Ding Shan. They wanted to sign a contract with her. This time it was real and she was not cheated again. Ding Shan also had winter vacation. She brought Siyue to her house to play. Ding Shan's parents were very happy to see him, and the whole family had a very happy meal together. After eating, Siyue washed the dishes for her future wife's family. Ding Shan was worried that, if she told them that they were in love, her mother would beat her up. The scene changed. Ding Shan and Siyue were cleaning the house together. This house hadn't been cleaned for a long time. The two accidentally bumped into each other, so Siyue wanted to hold her in his arms for a while. At this moment, Ding Shan's mother brought a blanket, and the two of them felt embarrassed and quickly separated, acting awkwardly. Her mother sensed something was up, so she questioned Ding Shan's younger brother, and her younger brother confessed the truth about his sister. Because of the phone, he told his parents everything about Ding Shan and Siyue's love story. Her father heard this and went back to his room to talk to his daughter. He also told Ding Shan stories from his youth. The purpose was to make her confess everything about her love story. Ding Shan's father witnessed Siyue growing up since he was little, so he felt reassured when Ding Shan loved Siyue. The scene changed. Siyue went to the hospital to visit his father. The doctor said that his father's condition was unstable. Siyue went in and told him about his naughty childhood. When he was little, his father had always strictly taught him to do this and that, so he felt very pressured and miserable. Now he understood that besides his parents, life was full of temptations. If he was not rational enough, he would break the law immediately. Siyue's father heard these words and felt that his son had grown up. He smiled and held his hand. The next day, Ding Shan and Siyue met again. Remembering the advice of her 2 close friends from high school, Ding Shan began acting coquettishly like a girl. Siyu didn't understand her intention, so he ran off to buy her a glass of warm water. The two of them then went to the library together. Siyue wanted to teach Ding Shan the content of the next semester because the professor said it would be difficult. He lectured lectured her, but all she could think about was how to kiss Siyu. Even though she failed today, she would succeed tomorrow. The next day, Ding Shan wore a pretty dress and went to find Siyu. Seeing him talking to some girl, Ding Shan ran to hug him so that the girl would know where to go. After the girl left, Siyu hugged Ding Shan. He lifted her face up and said that he really liked her. The two of them made an appointment to go out for coffee and take pictures like any other couple in love. Ding Shan was very happy today. When Siyu brought her back to the dormitory, she missed her and didn't want to go back, but because they came back too late, her dormitory was closed. Ding Shan had no choice but to go back to Siyue's house to stay. She cleared the table for him and saw his work contract with that company. Ding Shan sadly apologized to Siyue. It was because of her stupidity that he had to pay the price. Seeing that Ding Shan was about to cry, Siyu immediately comforted her. She was his girlfriend, so he had to be responsible for her, so she shouldn't worry about him. They each slept in a separate bed, but Ding Shan couldn't sleep. She wanted Siyu to sleep with her. If she had his warmth, she would sleep better. Ding Shan put her hand on his chest and fell asleep. As soon as she returned to the dormitory, the police called her. They said that Siyu was involved in a case of leaking business secrets, so he needed to contact the police to investigate the case. This case was also reported in the newspapers and media. Siyu went to the police station and told the truth without any fear. Ding Shan went to Bai Kong to talk about Siyu. She looked at the table and saw his company's project with Tsinghua University students and also understood what they had done. Ding Shan left in disappointment and received a call from the professor, so she rushed to the hospital. Siyue's father had a heart attack when he heard that his son was involved in the law. After several hours of emergency treatment, fortunately, he was out of danger. The professor asked his lawyer friend to bail Siyue out. After school, Ding Shan went to Siyue's house. He was so thin and still had to worry about her, which made her feel very sorry. She hugged him tightly. This time Siyue cried and thanked Ding Shan. He always thought of himself as very strong, yet in the end, he had to let her worry. Ding Shan believed that everything would pass quickly. When the two of them calmed down, Ding Shan told Siyu that she saw Tong Zheng's name in Bai Kong's company. Yesterday, when she returned to school, she saw Tong Zheng and the Great Light Company people together again. Seeing that, she became suspicious. Siyue said that he had the same thoughts as her. The important thing now was that Siyue would lock the code so that Tong Zheng would have to come to him. Sure enough, upon receiving the lock notification, Tong Zheng came straight to Siyue in the laboratory and admitted his actions. Siyue said that he was someone the professor trusted very much. Even though his personality was not good, his professional level was very high, so Siyue hoped that he would not disappoint the professor. Tong Zheng heard this and also started to help Siyu find out the truth. Siyu's father's condition had also improved, and his family moved back to their old house. This hometown of Shanghai had left many beautiful memories of him and his friends. Ding Shan also helped Siyu move house. The next morning, Ding Shan went out with Siyu. In her heart, she still thought that she was not worthy of Siyu, but after hearing this, his face became serious and forbade her from thinking like that anymore. He felt very lucky to love Ding Shan. The two of their mothers sat on this side, picking vegetables and laughing happily with each other. Then Siyu led Ding Shan to a place where the air was fresh, and the two of them sat high up and looked down at the city. Ding Shan was afraid that Siyue's mother would not accept her. Siyu knelt down, took out the ring from his pocket, and proposed to Ding Shan. This scene and this person moved her to tears. From now on, Ding Shan would no longer have to leave Siyu. She smiled and nodded in agreement. Siyu put the ring on her finger. Ding Shan and Siyu returned to the rented room. She bragged to him that she had decorated his house to make it warmer. Siyu pushed Ding Shan onto the bed, and they were affectionate with each other. The next morning, Ding Shan was busy painting while Siyu kept bothering her. She couldn't concentrate, so she turned around and got angry with Siyu. Professor Ye told her that Siyu had once turned down an invitation to go abroad. After some persuasion from Ding Shan, Siyu agreed to study abroad. That night, he called his friends over for a farewell party. When the two of them left, Siyu cried. He really didn't want to go. Ding Shan promised Siyu that she would wait for him. She would wait until he returned. Then time passed. The two of them spent special days without each other. They poured their longing into their phones. Ding Shan's graduation day finally arrived. Today she came to receive her diploma. She stood on the podium with pride. She would remember her memorable student days here. That afternoon, Siyu also returned. In the sunset, he gently kissed her lips. When he returned home, Ding Shan opened all the gifts that she had given him before. He cherished every gift from her. Sometime later, the four students returned to visit the school together. They met teacher Lu again, but were not as afraid as before. That day, the teacher was like a prophet. He predicted which couples were truly in love. It is true that experienced people can see accurately accurately. Dingshan and Siyue walked hand in hand back to the classroom. This place contains so many memories of their innocent time. Then Siyue held Dingshan's hand and left. She looked back and saw herself in high school smiling at her. The movie ended here. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye, and see you in the next videos.